Okay. Well, I'm sorry. It's a new video. You have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If your personality is very, you could use it either way. If it's hard when you meet someone, or if it's soft when you meet someone and then it adjusts, would you say that adjust isn't long term? That's not the person who they were before they met you. How would you structure?
Oh, I know this question. I love this question. You know what this question is? This question is that both of you are stupid for dating too long. You ready to hear? This is the answer. I know the question. The question is, I remembered you something else and now you're somebody else, right? That's basically the question. You know when this problem happens? When people date for too long. This is the fact. And they say the true colors. The true colors were always there. You just didn't read it. They were always there. You can't hide any colors. They were always there.
Some people can't catch those true colors.
No. They were always there. They were always there. Here's the issue. The issue is the butterfly stage went away with the butterflies and the reality came in. What's the reality? Business. Tachlis. That is marriage. That's why I say don't date too long, because you're going to start being married without any of the perks. You're going to be married, but by being dating. That's a bad thing. Now, what do you do if you're in this situation already? Right? That's the main question. I'm stuck, Rabbi. I dated the girl for over 5 months. I think after 3 months, you're wasting your time already. You're wasting your time. It's a waste of time. You're just being married. You're being married with all the responsibility without being able to commit to anything. I'm sorry, this is my feeling. What do you do? And here's my answer. You ready? Most people are not gonna like it. Minimize. Minimize how much you spend time together. Minimize how much longer you want to date. Oh, my parents don't let me, the whole 9 yards, finish school, finish this, finish that. You gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out. Because this is gonna ruin your relationship. Everyone has bad character traits. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. Not you, not her, not him, not me. We're not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. Definitely. What happens? You get married. Now if you dated for too long and you're too comfortable, that means all guards are down. All guards are down. That means I don't really have to work on myself. Because she knows this is who I am. I don't give a damn. Or he knows who I am, so I don't care. But if you would date only for 3 months and you're still kind of phase, then when you get married and everything goes bananas, you still gonna think twice before you act like a mental institution. That's what happens, because now I still have to control myself. I still have to work on myself. I cannot just do whatever I want. That's why it's good to minimize the dating. Now, again, let's say you're dated for too long already, Habibi. What do we do? Minimize. Minimize how long you're gonna speak to her. Minimize. Why do you have to see each other every day? I'm so confused. I'm really confused. Why? For what? To do averot? Come on, we all know that's what happens. You don't have to lie to me. I dated a girl for very long. Very long. I don't want to get into my personal life. I regret it. I honestly regret it. Because I know I would have married her regardless. Because I married her at the end. For what? To do more sins? To fight? To act like you're married and when you're not married? To be miserable even though you have no reason to be miserable at times? For what? Minimize. Work on yourselves. Unfortunately, you have to do things that married people have to do, which is validate and communicate and all these things you have to do when you're not married. And who's in fault for this? Yourself. You are in fault for this, not me. You did it to yourself. But Rabbi, I wouldn't know who he would have been. You wouldn't have known regardless. Because if you think this is bad, wait till you really get married. But this is everybody. Everyone has their negativity that you guys gotta work. What's the positive about this? I'll tell you what the positive is about it. You're not throwing it under the rug. You know there's an issue. Correct? You know there's an issue. So you have to ask yourself, who can I go to that's gonna help me with this? And this is why I always say it's very, very important before you're married and after you're married, to have a madrich and a madricha. We call it but we call it a role model. Someone that you can go and ask questions to. Because couples nowadays that just try to do things themselves, they live very miserable, very bad lives. They live just to pass time. It is what it is. I loved her, I got married to her, and now I dread her. But now I cannot divorce because we're too into it. Or we might have kids and all this nonsense. But you can change all that. How? By working on yourself. By finding someone that you can ask questions to, and someone that involved in your life, someone you're not embarrassed or ashamed, and to say certain things and certain experiences and say, I need help. I really need help. How do I work on myself? How do I become a better, unfortunately, you're still dating. How do I become a better husband? Or be a better wife? Because challenges will happen, regardless. Challenges are not gonna ask you, they're gonna come to you. Hi, I'm coming to knock on your doorstep. Today you have to control yourself because I am gonna not cook for you today. And you're gonna be hungry, and I'm purposely gonna get on your nerves. Or I'm purposely gonna ignore you and go out with my friends, and I'm gonna leave you all alone in the room. Or I will not answer your text, or I don't know what this dating series, what's going on in the dating world right now, and I'll ignore you and fight and think that you're not important and put someone else important. Most fights that most people have is because you think the other person doesn't think that person is important, but really, they have no control. If you would know how much he's getting pulled to do certain things that he doesn't want but he has to do, or she's getting pulled to do certain things that she doesn't have to do, and unfortunately, the couple are in the wrong. Like I always tell my students, the wedding planning, don't get involved at all. Flowers, chairs, seat. This is between the parents. This is not my problem. I don't care about it. Even though you care about it, I don't care about it. Because 99.9% of people that break their weddings is because of this at the end. I wanted a certain dress, I wanted a certain chair, I wanted a certain photographer, I wanted a certain, flowers, I wanted a certain ring, I wanted a certain this, I wanted a certain that. And what happens is, these things that are not important whatsoever, become the highlight of your wedding. And that's not important. What's important is, how will we relate to each other? Now, back to the question. It's not that he or she was a different person. He or she was in a different stage in the relationship. That's what it is. He or she was in a butterfly stage. And all butterflies fly away at the end. The question is, how do I move forward now? What do I do to become a better human being? That he or she shouldn't want, I wouldn't say run away, but he or she shouldn't get cold feet about it. My answer is, you need guidance. There are certain things, every case is different. I am going to give you an example. I had a guy that was engaged. He went out with her for 7-8 months, got engaged. After an engagement, he told me, I don't feel anything, Rabbi. Now I went crazy because I thought he might not be a man. He's crazy. How could you just got engaged? Maybe you were dying to get engaged. Now you're engaged. How can you not How can you not feel anything? I'm so confused. I'm lost. As a man, maybe because I'm a very heated man, I was like, this guy's crazy. He's off his rocker. He said, yeah, I don't care, Rabbi. If we get married, we don't get married. Whatever. I don't like her. I do like her. She's beautiful one day. She's ugly for me one day. Now, he needed help. That guy needs help. And we got him the help he needs. He didn't marry her at the end because we made sure that they're not going to get married. Why should she, miskina, suffer for the rest of her life if he needs mental help? That's not midot help. That's a psychological issue he had. Now, not you, but your question is a midot help, is a characteristic trait help. I need help because there are certain things that I'm dealing with, and it's not that you're being stubborn or she's being stubborn, but you guys are being stubborn. That means you want something to go your way, and she wants something to go her way, and the aggravation of how it's happening is showing a certain disasters of characteristic traits. So what happens, you both are in limbo. You just need to take the emotions aside. Simple. It's not simple, but it's very simple, really. Put the pros and cons on the table and solve the issue. The problem is, you guys in your age do not know how to put away the issues. Do not know how to put away the emotions. Because all of your issues is based on emotion. That's why you need someone. It's called the middleman. See, with no emotion, empty cup, that doesn't care about you and doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about how you feel. And you tell them the problem, and you lay out the pros and cons, and you both have to say, whatever this person says, we're gonna listen, regardless if I like it or regardless of if this one likes it. But you guys have to both agree to that. That's a catch. Not, I agree only if he says what I like. No. That doesn't work that way. I agree regardless of what he says. If it's for my benefit or not, whatever he says, why? Because he's not doing emotions. He's doing facts. And we're going to go by it. And I tell you personally, that saved my marriage many times in my life. Certain things in my life I wanted or I didn't want, and my wife said, I'm going to call your Rebbe, I don't care. And she called. And even though sometimes she embarrassed me, and we sat down and we spoke, regardless if I liked it or not, I followed by it. Because my wife knew, if his Rebbe says to do something, he's going to do it, regardless. And she was willing to take the chance. Sometimes it was for my favor, and sometimes it was for her favor. And at the end, it worked out. Why? Because it's not anymore what I want and what she wants. It's what's right for us. That's what it is. Again, get married ASAP. Oh, but we have so many problems now. What's going to be later? You're going to have problems regardless. The problems don't run away. They're not going to run away. You have to know how to face them and how to deal with them. You got to deal with them. Ask any married person. You got to deal with it. You can't run away from it. Running away from it means I'm starting to disconnect from my marriage. I'm starting to disconnect from my relationship. I'm starting to be depressed. I never understood the first year of marriage people when they're so depressed. I look at them like, are you crazy? You're supposed to be on cloud 9. You're supposed to be doing crazy things right now. You're supposed to be living life. Instead, you guys every day fighting and depressed. What kind of stupidity is this? You want to know why? Because all the butterflies was when they were dating. They didn't allow themselves to have that normal marriage relationship. So my advice is you need someone in between that's gonna give you a sense of guidance and time and understanding and say, this one's right, this one's wrong, understanding why he's doing this, understanding why she's doing that. Again, most times, most choices are done not because you want or she wants. It's because someone else is tweaking. Unfortunately, I'm going to say very honest. Parents get involved very, very much in kids' lives, and unfortunately, they destroy the kids' lives. Parents have to learn how to be neutral. Parents have to learn how to give advice, not command. Do you understand? It's very important. It took me many years to understand this. you have, when a parent tells information to the child, let's say they're very demanding parents, the child has to be smart. The child has to say, I'm not going to formulate this as a command to my spouse. I'm going to formulate it as an advice or as a thought. Or what do you think? Because automatically it changes the whole playing field. People don't know this. It's a psychology 101. If couples would know this, they would never get divorced and never have any fights. Problem is you don't know how to put your emotions aside. So you put everything into one, you go to the table, you start saying certain things, and then you say, I'm such an idiot. If I would have said it a little different, none of this would have happened. But now I'm not going to say sorry. I should say sorry first. Get out of here. So you continue fighting for a week or two. And then maybe, you throw a foot here, a foot there, it cooks you something. Everything's back to normal. But you didn't solve the issue. The issue's still there. What's the issue? How do we work on each other? How do we become better people? My advice too is you need someone in the middle that's gonna make those hard decisions. Because you don't fight because you fight. You guys, the lust is there. It didn't go away. What's the problem? When it comes down to business with certain things, there's a certain complication that needs to be solved. Because Elamai, he's still the same person and she's still the same person. Nothing really changed. It's now that there are challenges that came to the table, the frustration is starting to act up. And most people don't know how to handle when the frustration is there. So they start to blow off. I hope I answered somewhat of your question.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So let's say like you said, so after 3 months, it's already 2 months. You should get married ASAP, right?
Correct.
But what if I feel like if you date for such a short amount of time, you won't see the.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, so why is that? What
I'll explain.
Let's say a person is very angry and they have a very aggressive personality, and you get married quickly, and you won't see that if you weren't dating for some certain amount of time. Then later you're gonna get married, you're gonna see whoa, this isn't what I thought you were.
When does the aggression come out?
And that's very scary, because then what if when they're angry they react a certain type of way?
Correct. But when does aggression come out?
Whenever things don't go. When you're comfortable.
You heard what she said?
Yeah.
Okay. When I date for 3 months, and I get married to someone, I'm not comfortable.
Exactly. You want to see that.
No. So will the aggression come out?
No.
Oh.
It'll come later.
But why is that good?
Again, after you get married, you're still not comfortable. You're only comfortable when you know the person for a very long time. After 3-4 months, b'diavad 4 months, and you get married, you're still not comfortable.
Okay, eventually.
You're still very clean.
But you'll be comfortable. I'm saying eventually in marriage.
Okay, eventually. Now, what happens when you're still not comfortable in the beginning of your marriage? You learn how to deal with certain things. So the aggression, instead of being 100%, it will start to be 50%. That 50%, when you acknowledge it, if he's a smart man or if she, because women also are very aggressive. I've heard stories, it will rock you off your shoes. I'm telling you, the things that women do, forget about it. I'd rather not say. But what happens is, when you point it out, I have an issue with your craziness. He or she are mentally ill. Why do things have to break and things have to? What does my parents have to do with a fight? Why is there screaming? Why is the Deonagi going out, right? And you point it out, automatically what happens is the working on oneself is more, he or she wants to do it more. Why? Because I can't show her my craziness 100%.
Why not?
Because I still don't know her 100%. What happens is when a person is dating for too long, they get too comfortable. So they start acting like they're married when they're not married. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Comfortability killed the cat, Mary always told me. Why are you dating for so long? You're not going to know anything anyways more. You're not.
I think 3 months is
I think it's more than, I think it's too much. I think it's way too much.
Parents are
Okay, that's another issue. The question is, why did you date in the first place?
No, they're you should date for longer. They think 3 months is too short.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I don't think so.
After 4 or 5 months, because you saw certain things after 4 months.
Why did you see them? Because they were too comfortable.
But who says that you won't be comfortable after 3 months, but you will be very comfortable after 4 months?
Working on one's midot, this is again, there's no one perfect. There's not a perfect human being on earth. Being too comfortable creates chaos. When you're too comfortable, you create a chaos. That's why I'm telling you, you shouldn't date for too long, because you're not going to be comfortable. Automatically, you're going to still want to impress. If you date for too long, after you get married, after the first week and a half, you don't want to impress anymore. I know it with couples, straightforward. They got married after a couple months. She's married 4 or 5 months, she's still trying to impress him. It's not that she's trying to impress him. She's still trying to do everything tip-top, and he's doing the same thing. I see couples that have been going out for a year. He knew I was dirty. She knew I was like this. That's not a marriage. That's disgusting. Good marriages is when you still want to impress the other person, especially in the beginning of your marriage. Why do I need to impress? You know those women rights or men rights? Why do I need to impress? Because you're human. Why else? Because if you don't wear makeup, you look like a monkey. That's why. Not you, but in general. Bon agir, right? That's why. You still need the guy to come home and say, wow, I have something good to come home. If he's anyways going to come home to what was when you were dating, there's nothing boiling for him. Because he already had what he wanted. He married you. He consummated the marriage. What's left for him? Honestly, what's left? Think about it. Nothing's really left. So then why should I get excited to come home? Why should I be excited to make her feel good? Why should I be excited? You should know something. 99.9% of fights, I'm going to be honest with you, is not because of the couple. It's because the parents that get involved. I want you to understand this. I'm sorry I'm saying this to you, and I don't care which parent is watching this. I really don't care. 99.9% of fights in relationships comes when parents get involved. They whisper in their child's ear, why is he doing like this? Why is she doing like that? Why? Suddenly the kid doesn't know how to formulate it because he or she is stupid, and they come home and they start fighting. They were good. They were very good. What happened? Why are we fighting? He and she is not going to say, my mother told me or my father told me. Why are you getting involved? Did someone ask you? Oh, someone has to discipline her. That's not your problem. It's her husband's problem. It's the wife's problem. Why? Who asked for the No one needs a Rashi in the marriage. No one needs that.
I think it's for people in general, other than a religious guidance. Like, anybody who's trying to hear out your problems.
Yeah, but Elamai, if you tell this to your friends, unfortunately, friends also play a very big role, but it's gonna affect you less than when you hear it from your parents. A parent has to be smart. They have to be chachamim. They have to know how to be deaf, blind, and mute sometimes. They have to wait till the child comes and says, I need advice. They can give advice, but they cannot start saying, your wife is like this, you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or, oh, you know, your husband's like this, please tell him to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They can say it, but if the couple is not smart enough to know how to formulate it, instead of making a fight about it, that becomes a balaghan. People don't realize that's most of people's problems. I know this firsthand. I had a student who was having a hard time. He had a hard time in his marriage. He was married over 1 year. It wasn't going well. I told him like this. Get rid of your lease, sell all your stuff, move to Israel for 1 year. He thought I was mental. I said, I promise to you, you will come back to America after 1 year, you will kiss my feet, you will wash my feet with water, and you'll drink the damn water. I called him after a couple months. He's in Israel. He said, Rabbi, the greatest choice of my life. The greatest. I said, what happened? He said, no one can get involved in our marriage anymore. The things that I thought that were bothering me, or that the things that she thought was bothering her, doesn't bother us anymore. Because it really never bothered us. It bothered everyone else around us. That's what he told me. And I told him, I asked him a question. I said, oh, he was asking me something. I said, no, what does your father think? He's like, ask that? He said, my father? He's like, what do I think? I said, wow, congratulations, you grew some baits in. Now, I'm not telling this because, oh, excommunicate your parents. No, I'm not saying that. Your parents, you have to respect them, you have to love them, you have to do what they say. But you have to understand, when you get married, there are ways how to formulate and how to introduce certain things to your parents and to your spouse. Because not necessarily what bothers your parents is going to bother you. You have to understand that. It could be that your father didn't care if your mother cooked. Whatever, I went out to eat, and it could be that it bothers you. I want to come home every day. I want to have food that's cooked. I'm sorry. I want a hot meal. When I got married, I'm not saying my wife never did it. She did it. But she knows I want my kids to have a hot meal in dinner time. I don't care. The world can go frozen. My kids are having hot food. They eat yeshiva food. They eat this food. Dinner, hot meal. I don't care. Whatever it is, they need to eat something hot. They need to eat something that was made by you. Your hands. God gave you good hands to cook. Use it for our advantage. She knows. No matter what happens, there's something going to be cooked. She knows this. I don't do this out of force. I don't do this because my father or my mother told me. I do this because she knows this is my pet peeve. This is my craziness. And there are certain things that I know that bothers her. And if you ask my mom, she'll say, why does that bother her? I'm not married to my mom, but I'm married to who? To my wife. I have to respect, love, cherish, and do everything for my parents. I do. But I also have to explain to them at certain times that this is between me and my spouse. Like the first time my father saw me do dishes, he thought I was crazy. He thought I was mentally ill, insane. He said, well, what are you doing? And I don't blame him, because in his generation, a man washing dishes? Have you lost your mind? My dad is super old school. But when he saw me do it, I explained to him, I enjoy it, I like it, this is me contributing to the house, and I'm going to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. One time he said something, second time, the third time he didn't say anything. I'm going to now go to my, oh, why am I washing dishes? I'm a man! I didn't say that. I knew if I would say that, I would bring a fight for nothing. For who? For who am I going to bring the fight? Who's winning? No one's winning. So I continue doing it. My wife appreciates it. I don't mind doing it. What's the problem? Everyone's happy. We go to sleep safe and secure. Well, what more do I need in my life? What more do I need? That's why a person has to learn to be smart. Don't create issues from nothing. Parents are getting too involved. You have to nicely explain to them. Now, 99% of parents giving advice is good advice. It's perfect, beautiful advice. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying when it starts to seep into your house and it never bothered you. It never bothered you. I'll give you another example. My mom is a neat freak. She's an OCD neat freak. When you fry food, there's a smell, right? It smells like fry. My mom, when she fries, all the windows have to be open. She has a special door in the kitchen. No smell should go outside to the living room. That's how clean she is. You won't even realize that she even cooked. And trust me, she cooked. My wife, she likes to fry. Why not? So she'll fry. She won't leave the door open. One day my mom comes to my house. She's like, what the hell is that smell? I said, we fried fish. What's the problem? She was going crazy at me. Open the window. I said, wait, 1 second. Cut. I said, you live over there. You can do whatever you want in that address. This is my house. In my house, if I want to fry with no ventilation, with the windows closed and everyone's suffocating from it, that's my problem. This is not your problem. Of course, she's right. I didn't tell my wife this. And I even fried it. My wife didn't even fry it. The next day, or the next week when we wanted to fry, I opened the window. I didn't have to tell her anything. I opened the window, I opened the balcony, we fried it. It was all good. Everyone ate. The smell wasn't there. Finished. Kind of made a fuss. Kind of made everyone go bananas. I didn't do it. Why? Because I realized there's no point. What's the point? Who's winning out of this argument? Nobody. So why am I going to bring this fight? For who? Right? Close your mouth. You keep it in. You learn how to work around it. Like couples. I'll give you another example. I'm going to finish with this. This is the funniest example. The husband and wife don't care where they live. Suddenly the father and mother get involved. I want you to live here. I want you to live there. So what does the guy do? Like an idiot. He says, my father wants me to live here. We're gonna live here. Why did you have to say that? You know what you should have done? You should have showed her some nice apartments in the area. So I think this is nice. It's close to your work, close to my work. Find an excuse. No one knows nothing. They move in. You win. They win. Everyone wins. That's it. End of story. But instead, you know what you had to do? My dad wants me to. Now, it's not that she doesn't want or she does want. It's like a buzz in a woman's brain. All women have this. They hear someone else wants, they become cuckoo. I don't want. What happened? You said you don't care where you live. No, now I care. Oh my God. What? What happened? You see, you didn't formulate it properly. Do you see how these things are this is why you need someone to guide you when you get married. People don't think it's important. It's extremely important. I have students that call me every single day. Rabbi, I have a problem. What do I do with A, B, C, D, E, F, G? She's going bananas. She's like this. Or I have even girls that call me. I have a problem with this, A, B. You have to formulate it. What's the issue? How do we deal with it? Look, work on this, work on that. Read this book. Work on this midah. Take this vitamin, take that, so on and so forth. Maybe there's an imbalance in the system, and so on. And we figure it out. But if you're gonna just blow up for nothing, who's winning here? Nobody's winning. And this is why you shouldn't date for too long. And this is why you should prioritize between man and woman, and when they get married. All these things you say is a danger. Is not really a danger. It's not a danger. It's not.
But how do you know?
I know it for a fact.
How do you know 100%?
I know 101%.
How do you know?
Because I've been around. People that don't have guidance, people that use emotions to judge what's good for the family, always crash and break.
So what if a guy is actually abusive? Like, let's say, I'm saying this is a very extreme example.
No.
What do you do?
Okay, it depends.
Do you
First of all, you'd never know that if you would date him.
You would know that.
No, you
you were
wouldn't.
dating him for
You don't know
6, 7, 8
You don't know
months.
abusive men. You don't know abusive men.
Thank God.
You shouldn't know. Abusive men don't abuse until they have you.
It's so scary.
They don't abuse until they have you. And if they hit you before they have you, then they got very comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. So, but then how?
Abusive men don't show their colors until they know they have you, and then they start to abuse. If someone, God forbid, marries an abusive person, there's abusive women too. I want to break this out. No, I have to say it because people only think it's men.
Okay.
There are so many abusive women, you have no idea. I just had a case the other day. The guy told me, I can't live with her anymore. She beats me up. She mamish beats me up. She's psycho. He has kids. He said, I don't know what to do. Okay, they're going to therapy. We spoke about it. We got them a good therapist. Abusive comes from trauma, comes from her relating to, or him relating to, getting controlled in the house. They always were used by abuse. Abuse doesn't just come. It was taught somehow. I mean, someone was abusive in the house. He saw abuse. She got abused or he got abused, and it formulated. And this either it can be worked on or it cannot be worked on. It could be that she or he, the spouse, will say, I can't. Or he or she will say, let's work on it. These are different formulations of how to deal with it. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Now, you can never know this.
So you'll never know.
You will never know.
I think
So
you
no
also have
matter.
to look at the family, right?
Okay, yeah, we're getting into dating stuff right now, but yeah, family is important. Everything is important. Everything is important. But at the end of the day, if you have someone that's going to help you and guide you, you'll be very successful. If you don't have someone, and it's not an ego thing, why do I need someone to help me? Because you're unexperienced. That's why. You're unexperienced. And if your parents' marriage is not a marriage that you look up to, like this is the exact same marriage I want, then they're not the role model. Unfortunately. It could be that the rabbi does not have a good marriage too. Oh, you know what the difference is? You never saw the negative. Unfortunately, most people, when they look at their parents, are like, I know the crap they're going through. So who are they to give me advice? It's not that they're giving bad advice, but mentally in your head, you're not going to accept it 100%. Elamai, a stranger that you have no idea what's going on in his house, you listen to him. Why? Because you don't know really what's going on. And it could be that your parents, and most times, say the exact same advice, but you listen more to him. Why? Because you really don't know what's going on over there. So there's not that there's something wrong with your parents. It's just human nature doesn't allow you to accept because you know. Any other questions?
Is it co-ed every week?
Yeah. It's co-ed as soon as girls come. If not, it's not. I know you wanted to bring your wife. Any other questions? No? You done? You sure?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the question that you're thinking of. Okay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do I do? That's the question. What do I do?
In terms of what?
To each one, whatever they're feeling. What do I do? You have to do everything in your power to hurry it up.
Okay.
Whatever it is. What do I do? To hurry up to get married, to hurry up to get a Shalom Bayit coach, to hurry up to understand. And you know, I want to explain something to you. Oh, I love Hashem. I love the Torah. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's such a guidance of life. It's so sad we look at it as primitive. It's so sad that we look at it like it's a caveman, like someone, like crazy people wrote it. The Rambam writes, loving your spouse has to be more than how you love yourself. What does that mean? That means I have to put her or his needs before I put my own needs. When a person can do that, now I want you to understand, fights are inevitable. They're gonna happen. They're gonna happen. As long as they don't get emotional, meaning what's emotional? When you argue, you don't need to say hurtful things. You don't need to say you're fat. You don't need to say you're ugly. You don't need to say you have no money. Those are things that have nothing to do with the fight. Those are just things you say in order to win the fight, quote unquote. You don't need to say any of these things. Not only do you not need to say any of these things, that's not even the cause of the fight. I'll give you an example. Go to a wedding. And you think that dress is a bit provocative. You don't want her to wear that dress. You know other men will stare at her. She's saying, I look beautiful. I like it. What's the problem? I'm wearing it for myself. It's bullshit. I'm wearing it for myself. I think it makes me look slimmer. I think it makes me look more beautiful. And you're like, are you crazy? You're my wife. What are you doing? Why are you wearing this? I don't like it. How do you deal with the situation? It's a good question, right? All couples go through this. Every single one. Everyone. How do you deal with it? Huh? Are you supposed to say, I'm a man, I'll let her go with it, I don't care. How do you deal with it?
Are you admire that she looks good in it? Or will that make her want to wear even more? And then use your way about?
So this is, the real answer is how do I prevent this from happening? It's not, when you already have this situation, you're stuck. It's inevitable to have a fight. Unless, we'll get to the unless. But how do I deal with it? How do I make it that this should never happen? When you put her before you, automatically her desire for those kind of things are not going to be there. That means she perceives herself as beautiful on certain things that she wears or he wears based on how the feedback is. Don't ever forget that. It's the feedback that counts. So if you know how to give her that certain feedback at home, she comes home with her scrubs, bonagi. Now, you and I know she's not beautiful with the scrubs. Who we lying to, right? But you say, you're so gorgeous. Even with your scrubs, you look beautiful. That's amazing. I wish I was your patient, right? What did you just do? What did you just do? You mentally messed her head up.
That's all.
No, it's good. They want this. That's the difference. How did you mess her up? He thinks I'm always beautiful. I don't need to seek it. And don't lie to me. I'm not seeking it outside. Don't BS. You're seeking it outside. That's why you wore that dress. Automatically, you gave her that comfort at home. So automatically, she's not going to care for it outside.
I feel like they will get just.
She'll still look beautiful, but she'll look beautiful in a dress that you more or less will approve. Now, why do I need his approval? I'll tell you why you need his approval. You ready for it? Not because you're property, because you're his representation. If I'm sorry to give this example, but I have to. If I train dogs, right? If I train dogs, and I go outside and say, I'm a dog trainer, and I have a dog, and this dog is going berserk, is anyone going to give me this dog, their dog to train? They think I'm retarded. But if I have a dog that's, I'm sorry again, I'm using this example, but let's be mature, right? And this dog is nice, calm, collective. He sees a ball, he doesn't move, nothing. He's trained well. I'm going to feel trustworthy to give my dog to you to train. If I go outside and my wife is looking to attract the world, now that doesn't mean, I shouldn't be beautiful. You should be beautiful, but your beauty shouldn't be provocative. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Provocative means I'm doing it purposely for others. If you're dressing perfectly modest and you're still gorgeous and A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it happens to be there are sickos out there that are going to check you out, that's already their problem. That's not your problem. Automatically what happens, your representation of your husband automatically goes up. Again, I'm not a red pill guy. I don't believe in that stuff. But I'm telling you facts. The fact is you are your husband's image. And I know this firsthand. Firsthand. Now, don't forget, you're going to have daughters one day. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care. My daughter can do whatever she wants. No, she cannot. Because if you're going to find out if at 12 years old, she was already saying, Mommy, I want Botox, and I want to put all the makeup in the world. If you don't have a baseball bat to knock some sense into her head, you're retarded. Because I don't understand how a girl at the age of 22 has more Botox and her face, she looks like she's 40. I don't know why they want to look like they're 40. I'm so confused. For who? It's sad. And honestly, I asked the rabbi, there's in the Torah, you can't marry something You can't marry someone and not like, and if you were fooled. There was a story of a guy that got married to someone and he had a kid and the kid came out looking Chinese. And he said, what's going on? It's not my child. And she showed him baby pictures. So when she was a baby, she also had Chinese eyes. She did an operation to fix her eyes. Don't ask me how, it was a halachic thing. He's like, I want to get divorced. This. Of course, imagine you getting married to a girl that had like 15 nose jobs. She got 15, Botox. You're getting married. Suddenly the kid comes out like a monkey. And you're like looking at her like, what? You're a booba. You look like a doll. And suddenly I have a kid that's coming like Tarzan. What's going on over here? What's going on? What do you mean give a couple of years? The baby should also get Botox? Like so what's the pshat? What's going on? Well, right? I feel that every person before they get married, they have to write on their resume if they do it, what surgeries they did, how they looked, when they looked. This is disgusting.
But you don't mention all when
Yeah, people don't mention. You'd be surprised. The chisaron, whatever is missing, you have to fill in that void as a man. And whatever is missing for the man, you have an obligation to fill it into. Automatically, when that is filled in, whatever happens at home, whatever happens, meaning whatever is going to come out of the house will not be for others, it will be for your spouse. We learned this from the Gemara Masechet Chagiga. I forgot the name of the Tana. The rabbi's wife, whenever he would come home, she would dress up like she's going to a wedding. Whenever they would go out to a wedding, she would dress up like she's going to, regular, like nothing special. So the rabbis one time went to visit him and said, how is your wife dressed? What's this nonsense? She's so provocative. And he said to her, provocative? I'm coming home, I'm her husband, how can she be provocative at home? He was trying to teach them that the beauty has to be for the man in the house, not for the man outside of the house. Now, at the end of the day, she wants to please you. She does. But if you're not reciprocating on the effort she's doing, she's going to try to get reciprocation from others. That's the way it works. So you as a man have to do your due diligence.
If people getting married at ages 18, 19, 20, they already got that attention from everybody else, it would be much harder to change.
What does that
When
mean?
you're already married.
What does that mean?
An average 20, 21-year-old girl or guy has been to 40, 50 weddings. They've got the admiration, they've got the looks, they like
Looks
it,
of what?
They enjoy that, of people looking at them a certain way. So you could do your best of giving her the compliments when she looks at her lowest, but it's not going to do anything because she came into the marriage with that already.
No, I disagree with you.
No?
No.
You could change that.
There's nothing to change. She's only getting dressed because she wants someone to look at her. She wants someone. Who's that someone?
Yeah.
She's trying to find that one to look at me in order for me to get married. No girl is going to Dunkin' Donuts and she's wearing a gown. Someone's gonna see me. She's wearing a hoodie, she's wearing a skirt or whatever she's wearing, sweats, and she's going to get her Dunkin' Donuts and study, right? I'm assuming. I never saw a girl going with a gown saying, I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts and no one's still gonna see me right now. Unless she's really crazy. She wants to please you, you want to please her. The problem is there's always someone in between. Cut the middleman. Cut that person. Cut those people that are trying to make you fall. Cut them out of your life. Everything will work well. Any other questions before we close the camera? No? Have a good night.